Welcome to the Desert State Download with Brent Allen Peak, brought to you by Desert State Media. I'm Brent, and this is Truth from the Ground Up. I'm a grassroots activist in the Northwest Valley of Phoenix, and today was supposed to be kind of an origin story episode. It was supposed to be the inaugural, well, it is still the inaugural episode, but with everything that happened with the shutdown over the weekend, I really want to start there. And I think it sets the tone well for what this podcast is going to be about. So the shutdown is ending. Hooray for the 8 Democrats that caved and made a deal with Republicans in order to end the shutdown. I'm pissed. I am mad as hell about what's happened here. I work with a local indivisible group, Northwest Valley Indivisible. The shutdown's been going on as of today. I believe we're up to 41 days now. And even today, and for every day of this shutdown, we have had representatives from our group protesting. They have been out on the same corner in North Phoenix protesting this shutdown, protesting the Republicans that have been on vacation for the last 7 weeks and doing nothing here in Arizona's 8th Congressional District, where we operate mostly. Representative Abe Hamadeh, he's been enjoying his vacation. He's been having a great time. If you watch him on social media, he's sitting in his Timu Oval Office with all the gaudy gold decorations and the idolatrously large gold-framed picture of Donald Trump in his office. He likes to show off that office to anyone that wants to come by. And it's just gaudy and awful looking. But Abe Hamadeh has been spending his time showing off his Timu Oval Office and going on right-wing podcasts, blaming everybody else for what's going on in the country and taking absolutely zero responsibility. When Mike Johnson put out a nice little video showing House Republicans back in their districts working for their constituents, Abe Hamadeh wasn't here. I think he might have showed up for 1, maybe 2 private events. But if you are in this area, you know that Abe Hamadeh has not held a single public event since taking office. He's really hard to get a hold of. And during this shutdown, he has been completely absent from our district and from representing us. So we're pretty pissed that over these 40-something days, while Republicans have been doing nothing, while Democrats have, many of them, been trying to fight in the Senate to protect health care, and while we have been doing that here locally on the ground, now 8 Democrats side with the Republicans, and I just can't think of a better way to say it, but it feels like sorry for the male perspective here and a little crude, but it feels like we've been just kicked in the nuts. And the Democratic Party just can't hold it together. After what happened this week in the election, after the polls with a strong showing of support for Democrats and the Democratic viewpoint and the antagonism of Trump, did you see the amazing video of him being booed yesterday at the Commanders football game? Absolutely great. After all of the wins of this week, after a year of despair last November, giving way to anger and activism in January and throughout this year, we got over the first shutdown fiasco and the Schumer surrender. We're not getting over this one. We are not getting over this one. We have been betrayed by the Republicans, which we expected. We have been betrayed here in Arizona by our MAGA representatives, Abe Hamadeh, David Schweikert, Andy Biggs, Paul Gosar, and others, we're used to being betrayed by them. We're used to being ignored by them. And I don't know, maybe we should have been used to getting a bit of the same treatment from the Democrats. But we really thought this time would be different. We really thought this time would be different. They made a bad deal. They made a bad deal. Democrats have been holding the ground for weeks now to protect the ACA subsidies that are expiring. The average ACA subsidy is just over $500 a month. What's the average SNAP benefit? Under $200 a month. Both are bad situations to mess with here. But these 8 Democrats and the leadership that couldn't hold it together traded one disaster for another instead of holding their ground, which we were successfully doing. The momentum was with us. And they traded one disaster for another instead of holding their ground and addressing both situations. We've been betrayed. We've been betrayed. There are thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. Let me say millions. We had over 7 million people show up for No Kings in October. And the Democratic Party leadership has betrayed every one of those people. Here in Arizona's 8th Congressional District, a very red district, we had over 8,000 people show up to protest across 10 protest sites. If you drove down Bell Road in North Phoenix that day, anywhere in that 14-mile stretch through Phoenix, Glendale, Peoria, Sun City, and Surprise, Arizona, you saw thousands of people lined up. We're used to being betrayed by Abe Hamadeh here in this district. But the Democratic Party leadership betrayed all of us. And there are a lot of activists, not just progressive. Okay, I'm a little annoyed. I'm very annoyed that all I hear on the news, and even from some left-leaning news, is that the progressives are mad. No. This is not just progressives that are angry. This is a whole lot of center-left, left-leaning and progressive, a lot of Democrats, also a lot of independents who are mad as hell about what's going on. We've traded one disaster for another here. These problems were solvable without a surrender. First off, they were very preventable problems. All the problems that are happening related to the shutdown were chosen by this administration. They chose to fund what they wanted to fund, and they allowed everything else to go to shit. Even today, the administration is still actively fighting to fund SNAP for this month. Actively fighting against it, even with the end of the shutdown in sight. So what the hell did we get for this bad deal? Not a damn thing so far. Not a damn thing so far. Oh man, this it just makes me so mad. This administration could have prioritized all the things that we've been upset about, that average Americans have been upset about, and they didn't do it. And they took a bet. They made a gamble that if they could make this situation as terrible as possible, that if Trump could make this situation as terrible as possible, that people would eventually blame the Democrats. But people weren't blaming the Democrats. These 8 Democrats and the leadership that couldn't hold it together. This was just a stupid deal. There was no reason for it. And even if They rationalized this by saying that their constituents were being harmed. They have just brought about greater harm and lost all their leverage to do anything about any of it. The leverage is gone. Absolutely gone. The Republicans have been on vacation for the last 7 weeks. The Democrats might as well take a vacation until the midterms. Leverage is gone. Actually, I stand corrected. I guess we have kicked this can down the road to January 30th. But even then, some of these things are funded through the end of the year, which is a good thing, but not everything. Democrats might as well stay home. Might as well stay home. They are useless. They made this deal with no guarantee on health care. Democrats have been fighting to protect these subsidies for the ACA premiums. My friend George here in CD8 told me a couple weeks ago, or on November 1st, when they looked at their premiums for next year. His wife has an ACA plan. They'd been paying just over $300. I think it was like $320 something a month for their premiums. And a big chunk of that, yes, was being subsidized through these COVID era subsidies. But when they looked at their payments for next year, it was going to be it will be over $1,100. Their premiums are going from $300 to $1,100, more than tripling, almost quadrupling. And okay, so Republicans and MAGA make a fair argument that they don't want to subsidize everyone's health care. I get the argument. I don't agree with it. I think we are a wealthy nation. I think we can do a whole lot of things if we put our mind to it, and reprioritize some of our funding. But I get the argument. But I don't think anyone wanted to see this support just ripped out from under families, because millions of American families are not going to be able to afford their insurance come January. And there will be a lot of uninsured people with no safety net. Nothing. This is what those 8 Democrats and our ineffective leadership have done for us. To trust Republicans to keep their word on this is just absolute nonsense. Absolute batshit crazy nonsense. What makes these 8 Democrats think that they can trust Republicans? Because right now, every deal, every rescission and impoundment, every cut from this year is a deal that Republicans went back on. To my knowledge, none of those programs were funded and set up without bipartisan support, at least some bipartisan support. So every cut this year that has been made unilaterally by this administration without our voices in Congress being able to stand up, every unilateral cut by this administration and DOJ is representative of a broken promise. And we have these Republicans in the Senate now that have said, okay, we're gonna do a vote on these ACA subsidies later on. I think it's in December. First off, there's no guarantee that vote's going to go our way. Probably won't. The silver lining will be that Republicans will be on record for one of the largest healthcare increases in history, and millions of people no longer being insured. Republicans will be on the record being supportive of that. But there's also no guarantee we're getting that vote. If it happens, great, but it's not going to go our way, and I don't expect it to happen anyway. To trust Republicans right now, we've all seen the pictures of Charlie Brown going up to kick the football and Lucy pulling it away, and we've seen it, with Democrats over Charlie Brown's head and Republicans over Lucy's head. And that's what we're looking at. That is what we're looking at. So, no guarantees. Trump is still fighting to keep SNAP defunded. No guarantee that anything's going to happen on the ACA premiums. People will see their prices double, triple, and quadruple for their insurance in January. Democrats have traded one bad deal for another, and nothing good is coming out of this. So we have a leadership problem. This is the second time now this year. After the first one, Indivisible called for Schumer to step down as the Democratic leader in the Senate. That call is renewed now. Not that we ever took it away. And this morning I saw that Ro Khanna is out calling for Schumer to be replaced. And I call on Senators Mark Kelly and Ruben Gallego here in Arizona to call for the same. Schumer needs to go. Schumer may be a nice guy, maybe well-intended, has had some wins, but when the rubber meets the road on issues that we are so passionate about, he couldn't get it done. He's no Nancy Pelosi, that's for sure. This is, Schumer's got to go. After the huge successes across the country for the Democratic Party this week, not just at the voter polls, but in the polls looking at the vibe in the country, the wind was at our backs. Okay? The wind was at our backs. And in the best possible circumstances that we would ever get under the current political situation, Schumer can't keep it together. And he's got to go. And we need to hear this from more than just Indivisible right now. We need to hear this from more than just Indivisible. I am tired of the Democratic Party letting Indivisible and other movement organizations, 5051, Move On, HRC, ACLU. I am tired of the Democratic Party letting everyone else carry the water for them. I am sick of it. I thought that was changing. I thought it was getting better. Okay, I thought that Ruben Gallego and Mark Kelly had come around. Gallego kept up the message. Kelly, not so much, although he renewed it last night. Was he one of the ones that went along with the plan privately, but knew that he couldn't publicly? I don't know. I kind of think he might have been. But I am sick of the Democratic Party counting on the activists and other organizations to carry the water for them. We need the Democratic Party to stand up. We need the people that are elected to hold themselves accountable. This is not just a moderate Democratic problem. This is not just a Democratic leadership problem. This is a problem for all the electeds in Washington, in the Senate right now, that are not doing what they need to make sure that everything stays together under this tent that we have. The House Speaker, Hakeem Jeffries, not Speaker, sorry, Minority Leader, has come out, Freudian slip, next year maybe. The future House Speaker, Hakeem Jeffries, has come out against this deal. The DNC chair has come out against this deal. Many Democrats are against this deal. If you are really upset about this, then you electeds that are upset will call for Schumer to step down as leader in the Senate. You will call for that. And we will call on you to call for that. I will be putting that word out today to those people here in our district that are paying attention. So we need new leadership. Okay. I would love to hear from you, your thoughts on all of this. So wherever you're listening to this podcast, you can head on over to Instagram, Desert State Media on Instagram, Desert State Media on Facebook, Desert State Media on YouTube, if you're watching this on video, and leave comments. Let me know what you're thinking. And by the way, if you see MAGA trolls commenting, feel free to civilly give them a hard time. I'm not going to say respectfully. Be civil and snarky. That's the tone I like. I don't like the FUs. I don't like the veiled jokes about someone's death or passing. But I love civil but snarky. Here in the Northwest Valley around Phoenix, where we've been doing this protesting all year, I tell our folks, if someone says "fu" to you, then you say, "Have a nice day" or "Bless your heart." I grew up in the South, and we all know, those of us from the South know that "bless your heart" means, "Oh my, you're an idiot." So bless your heart, have a nice day. If they wave one finger, you show them how to wave all five. That's the tone that we've tried to go for in the Northwest Valley here around Phoenix. And that has drawn a lot of people in. We've had massive protests with thousands of people show up on the three big ones: hands off, the first No Kings in June, the second No Kings in April. Thousands of people every time, from 2,000 the first time all the way up to over 8,000 in the last one. And these are all family-friendly events. We get families with children coming out, some bringing some pets. The last time with all the costumes and the inflatable costumes, the inflatable penis wasn't family-friendly. I know someone got arrested for that. I don't remember what state. I want to say Missouri. And then when the pictures were coming in from our crowds in Surprise, Arizona, I saw one there as well. Thankfully, that one didn't get arrested, but mostly our protests are family-friendly here. But anyways, I would love for the tone of this podcast and our audience to be the same as well. Civil but snarky. Feel free to be snarky, but please keep it civil. Obviously no threats in the comments. And I'll ban you no matter what side you're on if I see that. But civil but snarky is our tone here, and that's what we want to keep it as. So where this show is going, again, today was, for the inaugural episode, I wanted to say more about who I am and who we want to be here in this. I'll say this, and I'll say more in probably the next episode. I'm not sure where I'm going yet, but there's a lot of good podcasters out there. There's a lot of good people to follow to get information from. But I think that where we want this to be was referenced on, so Ali Velshi, one of my favorite hosts on MSNBC, on Saturday, he talked about his own story as a child, watching his father run for office. Amazing story. Go back and listen to the second hour of Velshi from this past Saturday, November 8th. And then right after that, he interviewed Justin Jones. I hope I'm getting the name right, the Tennessee state rep. And they made a point. The representative made a point that he wanted to be a movement legislator, not just someone that legislates, but close to a movement. And that is what this is meant to be right here. This may eventually become a more polished podcast, but right now it certainly isn't. This is my work office right here where I run my business. Of all of the podcasters that are out there right now, I've been kind of frustrated at the slow pace at which they have come to embrace movements like Indivisible and No Kings and all that. And I want you to know I've been there from the beginning of this year. And this, what I want this voice to be, is absolutely not a voice of the party. This voice here, our voice, is meant to be a voice of people on the ground. Truth from the ground up. I've been on the ground this year. I have been surrounded by hundreds and thousands of other people on the ground this year, and that's what I want this to be. So if you're on the ground and involved in doing something, thank you. You're going to love this podcast, I think. If you're not, you'll be challenged to get involved. Find a way to get involved. to do something, because we all need to be doing something right now. And I guarantee you there's some things you're going to hear to do that aren't going to be quite up your alley, and that's fine. Don't let anyone pressure you to do that. We all have different ways to do it. For me, it's been protesting all year. I know they need people to make calls. Frankly, I don't like making those calls. I've done it. I don't enjoy it, but I love the protesting. And so you find a way that works for you. But here on this podcast, you're going to hear about what's happening here, and you're going to hear about things that are happening statewide and nationally that are affecting us here in Arizona. My hope is to have definitely local voices. There's a lot of people locally that I know that I would love to get on here, but also some state voices. I've had the opportunity to meet a few state folks over the last few months. So I hope to use some of those connections to bring them to you so that you can hear from them. And through me, I can share your concerns with those people, ask the questions, hold them accountable. If there's someone in the state that you think would make a great guest on this podcast, feel free to shoot me an email, info@desertstatemedia.com, or message me through the socials. Instagram and Facebook is where I'm mostly at right now. So the goal here is to give grassroots the microphone and stop letting the party and the other powers that be define us. We are the people. And right now, we are pissed, and we're not going away. Thanks for listening. Follow along. Be sure to subscribe wherever you watched or heard this today. Find me on the socials and follow Instagram, Desert State Media, Facebook, Desert State Media, YouTube, Desert State Media. Thank you for listening to the Desert State Download. I'm Brent Allen Peak, and we will be back again soon.